Hi everyone, today we will be looking at the section on rate. In particular, we will be looking at rates in real-world context, how we are going to be applying them into 4 different situations. The first one being simple interest, whereby there is this formula I equals to PRT over 100 that we will learn. And then we will be looking at hire purchase, where we'll understand what deposit and installments actually mean. Next, we'll look at currency exchange, whereby we need to learn what does selling and buying actually means to a currency exchanger. Lastly, we will also be looking at income tax, where we need to understand what does chargeable income and income tax rate actually means. Now, we will first take a look at simple interest. Simple interest happens in 2 basic scenarios. The first one is when we deposit our money. That is also called the principal amount. When we deposit into a bank, we will earn interest on the principal itself. So for instance, you put money into the bank and then you will receive some interest on top of the principal amount. Another scenario that we could be looking at is when you borrow money from a bank. And in this case, we will be charged a fee for borrowing money, and that is also what we call the interest as well. So from the bank itself, we will be taking money from them. Let's look at the first scenario. Okay, so in this case, I have crafted out this situation, this problem here. It says that Esther deposits $1,000 into a bank which offers a 2% per annum. Annum actually refers to per year. So it offers a 2% per annum interest rate. How much will Esther receive at the end of 3 years? So to figure out how much she will actually receive, we need to consider having the principal amount and then adding on to the interest that she will be receiving. So we first calculate how much the interest will be. So the amount of interest will be to take $1,000 times 2% times 3 years, because she has placed the money for 3 years, and then that is $60. So at the end of 3 years, when she takes out her money from the bank, it will be $1,000 plus $60 to get $1,060. Based on the way we calculate our amount of interest over here, we notice that we have $1,000, which is what we call the principal amount. 2% is actually the interest rate. And for 2%, we know that we can re-express it as 2 over 100. And then 3 is the number of years or the duration the money has been placed inside the bank. So we could simplify this process into a formula which reads as I equals to PRT over 100, whereby P refers to the principal, R refers to the interest rate. We no longer need to do the percentage because the divide by 100 accounts for the percentage, and then T would actually be the number of years. So in this case, we have 1000 P, 2% R, and then 3 for the T. We will first take a look at this example here. It says that Bernard takes a loan of $150,000 from a bank to start a business venture. The bank charges him simple interest at a rate of 5.5% per annum. If he plans to repay his loan at the end of 3 years, find the amount of interest he has to pay and hence the total amount of money he owes the bank. So when we are given a problem sum like this, we need to first identify what are the important information that will help us in solving the question. So one of the first few key information is that there is a loan of $150,000, and this $150,000 refers to the principal amount. Then the bank charges him simple interest at a rate of 5.5% per annum. So that means that R is equals to 5.5. And another important information is that he intends to pay the loan by the end of 3 years. So T is equals to 3. So to meet the objective of the question, there are 2 objectives. First is to find out the amount of interest he has to pay, followed by the total amount of money that he owes. So let's find out what is the amount of interest that he has to pay. So we can find the amount of interest by making use of the formula PRT over 100 and then substituting or replacing each of the letters or each of the variables with the amount that we have identified earlier, which is 150,000 times 5.5 times 3 over 100, followed By that, we can press into a calculator to determine what is that amount. And that comes out to be 24,750. Then to find out the total amount of money that he owes, that will include the principal amount that he borrowed at first, adding on to the interest that we have. So therefore, total amount of money that he owes will be 150,000 plus $24,750. Therefore, the answer would be $174,750. We now take a look at another example whereby Joyce invests $6,000 in a savings plan that pays simple interest at a rate of 3% per annum. We want to find the time taken for her investment to grow to $6,720. So again, from a question itself, we will identify what are the key information that will help us to solve the problem. We first know that there is $6,000 being invested, and that will be our principal amount, or P. Then, the simple interest is at a rate of 3% per annum, which means that R is equals to 3. We also know from the question that we want her investment to grow to $6,720. At this juncture, I want us to think, what does growing to $6,720 mean? Is $6,720 the interest amount? So because we are growing her investment to this amount, that means that our $6,720 is our principal amount, including the interest that we have earned. So we need to be clear that 6720 is actually our P plus I. And then the objective of our question is to find out what is the time taken for us to achieve this $6,720. So in the formula that we have learned about simple interest, it is interest equals to principal times rate times time over 100. So what we need to first find is the interest amount. And that could be done so by taking 6720 minus away 6,000. That will be $720. Then we can now apply the formula that we learned. 720, which is the interest amount, equals to PRT over 100, whereby P is 6,000 and R is 3 and T is what we need to find. Hence, we can press into our calculator to simplify this fraction by keying in 6,000 times 3 divided by 100, where we ignore the T. So then the answer will be 180 T in the end. So 720 is equals to 180 T. Our objective is to find out what is T, so we will need to take 720 divided by 180 in order to find T, which simplifies to be equals to 4. Therefore, we conclude that it will take her 4 years for her investment to grow to $6,720. I hope that you are able to understand the solving of this question. In this third example on simple interest, we have the following information being advertised by a bank. It says here 10-year high yield account, 2.35% simple interest. Cheryl found the interest rate very attractive and decided to deposit $3,600 inside the bank. 1 year later, she only received an interest of $8.46. Upon reading the above advertisement carefully, she realized that she had been misled by it. So how much interest had Cheryl expected to receive after 1 year? That's the question in part A. So in part A itself, we want to find out what is the interest, and that is after 1 year. So going back to the question, we identify important information that will help us answer the question, and that is the deposit of $3,600, which is the principal amount, and then there is a 1 year later, which is the focus, which means our time is 1 year, and then there is 2.35% simple interest. So Cheryl actually expected 2.35% of simple interest, which makes R to be equals to 2.35. So to find out the interest expected, we will use our formula of PRT over 100, which is 3,600 times 2.35 times 1 over 100, and that gives us $84.60. So the amount of interest she had expected to receive was $84.60. However, in the question, it did also mention that she only received $8.46. This leads us to part B of the question, which asks, explain how Cheryl had been misled by the advertisement. So let's go back to the advertisement to understand what exactly is it that is misleading over here, and why is there this disparity between what she had really received and what she thought she would receive. Okay, so with that as the focus and the objective, let's just highlight. Okay, so the part of the advertisement that is deceiving or misleading, okay, I'm not sure whether is it called deceiving or not, but at least it is misleading, that it is this 10-year high yield account. So what it's trying to say is that this 2.35% will only be received at the end of 10 years of investment or 10 years of deposit. So that is the part that is misleading. So what happened is that she misinterpreted the interest to be 2.35% per annum because she didn't notice the 10-year high yield account information, which means that the 2.35% in interest will only be accumulated after 10 years. So that is how we could explain our answer to part B. I believe that this is a context that is very relevant to us, especially when you grow older in future. You will encounter many kinds of advertisements regarding asking you to invest your money into certain specific accounts in order to earn more money without having to do much things at all because of the high interest rate. Okay, so in future when you're older, you may want to be very careful about how you invest your money. Okay, and making sure that you read all the fine print so that you do not get misled by it.